The scene opened in chaos, marked by screams, laughter, and exclamations of awe. Someone was swept up in exhilaration, calling out as they floated, their voice carried among the sounds of blaring horns and screeching tires. Amid this wild energy, a sense of wonder filled the air, a brief, untamed joy that felt almost supernatural. As the frantic sounds subsided, filmmaker David F. Sandberg reflected on his career's sharp turn. Just as he was completing Annabelle Creation, New Line Cinema called him to direct Shazam. The idea struck him immediately, an irresistible blend of a childlike fantasy with superhero spectacle. Despite his background in horror, the proposition made perfect sense to him. At New Line, the team admired his work and believed he was ready to ascend to a larger-scale production, much as James Wan had, transitioning from The Conjuring to Aquaman. Although Sandberg had built a name in horror, few realized his deep connection to comedy, a genre he viewed as closely related in structure and emotional manipulation. Both demanded precision, eliciting pure, visceral reactions from their audiences. That dynamic interplay between fear and laughter fascinated him. The scale of Shazam introduced new challenges. Sandberg and his cinematographer, Maxime Alexandre, were entering uncharted territory with a multi-million-dollar production unlike anything they had encountered before. The leap from modest horror sets to a major motion picture required meticulous planning. Unlike his previous projects, where he could improvise on set, he now had to craft months of pre-visualization and storyboarding. Drawings and creative sketches he once made himself were replaced by professional artists who helped bring his concepts to cinematic life. Pre-visualization became a crucial tool, a language that connected departments from stunt coordination to special effects and set design. Each frame served as a playbook guiding the collective effort. One sequence in particular, a storyboard of Billy walking toward the camera before transforming into Shazam, captured the essence of the film. That very moment would later anchor the movie's first trailer. Casting unfolded with its own surprises. Actor Zachary Levi initially auditioned for a different, much smaller role. His tape, casual and humorous, immediately caught Sandberg's attention. The director saw in him the perfect embodiment of Shazam's charm and energy. Within a week, Levi's life had changed entirely. He had gone from reading for a secondary part to leading the film as its titular hero. The transformation was not just on screen. Levy devoted himself entirely to the physical demands of the character, following an exhausting regimen. 5 days a week at the gym and a staggering 3,700-calorie diet reshaped him into the superhero's larger-than-life image. His dedication, paired with Sandberg's vision, anchored the film's blend of humor, heart, and spectacle. The narrator reflected that the amount he consumed was considered low compared to others who reportedly ate nearly 6,000 calories a day, a number that seemed almost impossible, as if someone would need to spend the entire day chewing. Jimon Hounsou noted that Zach's transformation before being cast had been dramatic, resembling that of a superhero. Despite his impressive physique, Zach joked that there was not a single shirtless scene in the film, easing the pressure to keep it up. The suit itself, padded with muscle details, contributed significantly to the illusion. Leah Butler explained that the costume design aimed to remain faithful to the look of classic comic depictions. However, the initial fittings made the actor feel somewhat boxy and awkward, drawing laughter as someone joked that it looked as though Shazam had joined a nunnery. The production valued the timeless symbols of the character, the red suit, white cape, boots, and lightning bolt. Director David Sandberg wanted the cape to be short a nod to the earliest versions, while still including the hood from modern adaptations. Greek-inspired patterns were integrated into the suit as subtle reminders of the mythological origins that gave shape to Shazam's powers. The cast laughed about the practicality of wearing spandex, which came with unexpected challenges. One performer described how difficult it was to perform simple human functions while trapped in the tight costume, joking that using the restroom became an ordeal and that dry cleaning it was no less frustrating. He taunted that his firm resolve and strong bowels were doing the real heavy lifting during long 10-hour shoots. Filming continued deep into winter nights in Toronto, a punishing experience for the crew. The freezing temperatures made even simple tasks grueling, with equipment cables turning brittle from the cold and snapping under stress. The Canadian weather left many shivering, some claiming it required an entirely new wardrobe suited for such extreme conditions. Even Sandberg, Swedish by birth, confessed that he was far from accustomed to such brutal cold and humorously hoped the sequel would be shot somewhere tropical. Despite the weather, the production maintained its momentum. The lightning bolt on Shazam's chest, a key emblem symbolic of his magical energy, was engineered as a genuine light source so that every reflection would appear authentic on camera. Yet this innovation proved temperamental. On more than one occasion, the illuminated bolt malfunctioned in the middle of a night shoot, forcing electricians to track down defective wiring hidden within the suit's layers. The team investigated every possible section, the back, shoulders, and arms, before disassembling parts of the costume to repair the fault, all while producers anxiously awaited the resumption of filming. The technical team demonstrated exceptional skill and precision in diagnosing and resolving minor issues during production, ensuring operations continued smoothly thereafter. The process demanded patience and creativity, mainly when producing visually striking moments, such as sequences in which a character emerged majestically from smoke, his lightning bolt emblem gleaming through the haze. A major stunt involved a 24,000-pound bus, which the team lightened to 18,000 pounds by removing as much weight as possible. Constructed on a complex rig, the vehicle could tilt, rise, and descend to create dynamic movement. Stunt performers were attached to the structure, and the lead actor was positioned underneath, giving the illusion that he was lifting it himself. The stunt captured a heroic visual moment that blended strength with precision. The focus on authenticity extended to the villains as well. The creative direction was to make the antagonist feel truly menacing, an unstoppable, heat-seeking embodiment of evil to heighten the story's stakes. Mark Strong's preparation impressed the crew. His dedication to training and mastering the physical demands amazed even his instructors. He quickly adapted to specialized rigging systems, such as the tuning fork setups, which required immense core control. His rapid mastery of these stunts made filming smoother and safer. As the action sequences intensified, the crew refined precise moments like the hero crashing onto a car windshield, a stunt so delicate that even a mild breeze could disrupt it. Careful adjustments to vehicle placement ensured flawless execution, resulting in a successful take on the first attempt. Filming moved to a real, functioning shopping mall, which added another level of difficulty. Since closure was not an option, the team navigated crowds and curious onlookers while coordinating wire stunts and pyrotechnics. The mall's toy store became a playground for improvisation. Within that setting, the actors freely experimented, hurling props and adapting their movements on the fly, blending humor with chaos to craft memorable cinematic moments. Every sequence demanded accuracy and trust between departments. Safety checks were constant, especially for scenes involving shattering glass or explosive effects. Timing had to be exact to the fraction of a second, and the crew painted surfaces to maintain visibility and alignment for the stunts. Many of the high-risk moments succeeded in a single take, the culmination of rehearsals that honed every variable to perfection. As production continued, each department contributed to a cohesive spectacle of energy, timing, and creativity. Even the smaller, playful scenes required intricate planning. What began as a series of technical challenges evolved into a seamless portrayal of heroism, humor, and extraordinary craft. The narrative begins with a description of the Rocky statue in Philadelphia, which inspired immediate excitement and creative energy. A person, with their spouse in another room, began imagining lightning shooting from their hands, reflecting a child's imaginative mentality. During filming, it was initially decided not to bring the entire crew to Philadelphia due to budget constraints, so a scene was shot on a Toronto street corner. However, when the movie was shown to the studio, it became clear that the scene really needed to be filmed in Philadelphia. Additional funding was obtained, allowing the team to shoot on the actual Rocky Steps. The story continues with the team arriving in Philadelphia, only to face rainy weather and dense fog that obscured the iconic city skyline. Filming complications included the need to digitally restore the cityscape digitally, since the shoot was not on a blue screen, requiring complex rotoscoping and layering to remove obstructive elements such as trees. This process was described as a significant reconstruction project. Attention then turns to the Rock of Eternity, the largest and most elaborate set built to be vast and imposing, with walls over 100 feet long and some sections exceeding 40 feet in height. Walking into the set felt like being transported into a magnificent, immersive environment. The creative team put considerable effort into making the deadly sins characters scary, especially Wrath, which was nearly completed and replaced regularly throughout the production process. The grotesque statues were praised for their artistic beauty, despite their intimidating designs. The process of animating the sins was one of the most challenging parts of the visual effects work. The director had broad ideas about the creature's characteristics, while the animation team developed their movement styles and personalities. Visualizing the sins in their ethereal form proved difficult, as it could not be storyboarded or pre-visualized in the traditional sense and required all assets to be finished before refining the effects. Lightning was portrayed as a character in the movie, with two styles used: instantaneous lightning resembling natural sky lightning, and sustained lightning inspired by the Tesla coil aesthetic. The character Savannah had black lightning, a type of negative lightning without visible light, inspired visually by the concept of a black hole surrounded by an accretion disk. This was a complex and unique effect to visualize and render. The third act of the movie was described as epic and the most complicated, with the story expanding from a parade to a carnival and, eventually, to a fight in Philadelphia. This set a demanding deadline to create a fully computer-generated Philadelphia completed under time constraints. Due to the tight schedule, specific sequences were delivered during filming to allow sufficient time for visual effects work. The intense production process involved little sleep but was considered worthwhile for the final result. During filming, the production team closed down Hollywood Boulevard, creating a memorable atmosphere. The team felt proud to have made a film that was not only fun and joyful, but also inspiring and powerful. Completing the movie led to a desire to apply the lessons learned to future projects, and it was the most significant learning experience. After 2 years working on this project, there was an expressed interest in switching to smaller projects, like a horror movie, that would require less time. The team reflected on the film's quality, feeling confident it surpassed the original script and was a remarkable success from the outset. Levi described how he had experienced many wonderful moments in his line of work and how wearing the suit was an incredibly humbling experience. Sandberg explained that he was having molds made of his body to portray a crocodile man in a brief scene in the movie. During a production meeting, the question of who would play the Crocodile Man came up, and Peter suggested that David take the role, which everyone agreed was a great idea. Sandberg likened himself to a piece of toast being buttered and noted he had to maintain a specific posture throughout the filming because of how the crocodile's head functioned. He revealed that the costume was loud because the motors controlling the mouth and eyes made it impossible to hear anything inside. Amid laughter and some lighthearted teasing about losing a tooth, Sandberg expressed that he was glad to have done the role, but did not want to repeat the experience. The scene concluded with applause and commendations. The production team built an enormous carnival set for the film's climactic sequence. The scale far exceeded that of their previous projects, requiring complex choreography, multiple stunts, and intricate camera setups. The director, accustomed to smaller productions, initially struggled with the massive undertaking, but was encouraged by producers to embrace its ambitious scope. With 5 cameras locked into position and numerous action elements aligning, the filming process became one of the most challenging yet exhilarating experiences for everyone involved. As preparations intensified, the carnival sequence expanded beyond the original script, doubling the amount of wire work to capture aerial battles and high-flying combat. The stunt coordinators meticulously rehearsed scenes involving actors suspended by complex rigs, each movement captured to ensure both performance and safety. The process, though repetitive and technical, resulted in visually spectacular moments on screen. To execute the mid-air fights, the stunt team developed a device called the tuning fork, which allowed performers to rock, rotate, and spin mid-flight. Both lead actors adapted quickly to the physical choreography, performing with precision while maintaining expressive physicality. Their commitment elevated the sequence, blending realism and intensity. The crew worked tirelessly to refine every gesture, from hand-to-hand combat with four-armed digital foes to transformations between real and computer-generated imagery. Significant challenges arose in scenes involving the 7 deadly sins, monstrous digital creations requiring performers in motion capture suits to interact believably with live actors. Each scene often required partial replacement of bodies with computer-generated doubles to simulate authentic contact. The combination of live action, puppeteering, and animation brought the creatures convincingly to life. Amid all this technical complexity, the production also had to design a functioning carnival environment. The art and construction departments built an entire amusement park filled with real rides, fabricated huts, and exploding props. At one point, they even purchased and reconstructed a Ferris wheel from an old park, engineering it to tip and collapse safely during filming. The stunt coordinators took precise measurements to ensure it would fall within inches of its intended spot, a feat that delighted the crew when it was successfully executed. Alongside the large-scale destruction, the filmmakers captured emotional moments between characters, focusing on quieter scenes that grounded the spectacle. One particularly demanding sequence involved submerging a young actor's head in icy water, testing both endurance and safety precision. Despite the physical toll, the cast delivered remarkable performances that deepened the story's emotional weight. As the production progressed, storyboards lined the set, helping the director and cinematographer manage the immense number of camera angles and visual effects shots. Each frame was carefully planned for lighting, color, and movement, emphasizing the contrast between chaos and clarity. When the heroes finally transformed into the Shazam family, the vibrant visuals symbolized unity and empowerment. The actors, now fully embodying their superhero roles, moved with confidence, portraying triumph rather than uncertainty. By the time the final sequence concluded, the entire team celebrated the completion of a monumental task. The set, once chaotic and demanding, became a symbol of collaborative success. Every explosion, wire stunt, and camera movement contributed to a finale that balanced technical mastery with heartfelt storytelling. The cast and crew, exhausted but exhilarated, left the carnival set knowing they had achieved something extraordinary.